Creepy Encounters in Yorkshire. Story 1. The Chase in the Fog. Segment 1. The Walk. Whitby, Yorkshire, night, October 2025. A lonely seaside town swallowed by fog. The North Sea murmurs somewhere. Beyond the rooftops, street lamps glow weakly through mist, their halos bleeding into the darkness like candlelight underwater. Narrator. Whitby. A town made for ghost stories, the kind that begin in silence, in fog thick enough to swallow your breath. Ethan Carter's terraced house. 12:47 a.m. Ethan Carter, 26, sits at his computer in a dimly lit room. The soft glow of the monitor paints his face in cold light. On screen, a paused video game, headset lying beside an empty mug of tea. He looks exhausted, eyes ringed with fatigue, posture slumped. A storm rattles outside. Suffix. Distant thunder rolls across the rooftops. He glances at the time on his monitor. 0:47. He exhales, rubbing his eyes. Ethan. Bloody hell, I can't sleep anyway. He shuts the laptop, grabs his hoodie from the back of the chair, and pulls it on. Cut to XT. Ethan's street, night. Rows of narrow terraced houses stretch into fog. Their windows glimmer faintly, warm interiors, tucked behind layers of rain-streaked glass. Ethan steps out, locks the door, and tucks his hands into his pockets. The key clicks sound loud in the silence. The air is cold, damp. His breath steams faintly as he starts walking, trainers slapping against the wet pavement. Narrator. He told himself it was just a walk. To clear his head, to shake off the noise of fluorescent lights and supermarket aisles. Angle on. A Tesco badge pinned to his jacket, still there from his shift. He walks past shuttered shops and lampposts that flicker, the fog growing thicker with each step. The hum of the town fades. No cars, no voices, just the echo of his own footsteps. Outskirts of Whitby. Later. The pavement ends. The narrow road winds between fields and old cottages, half swallowed by ivy. The houses here are older, brickwork eroded, windows boarded. Ethan hesitates, glancing back. The fog has already swallowed the street behind him. He mutters under his breath. Ethan. Great job, genius. Out for a midnight stroll into the bloody moors. A faint chuckle escapes him, but it dies fast. He keeps walking. Wind sighs through the trees, followed by a low creak. Wood? A fence? Or something else moving out there? Ethan stops, head turning toward the sound. He sees nothing but pale gray fog and the faint outline of a crumbling fence. He continues, slower now. The road narrows. The fog thickens. Desolate lane moments later. A single street lamp stands ahead, its light flickering rhythmically. Beneath it, the fog swirls in pale spirals. Ethan's footsteps echo louder here, almost too loud. Each one seems to bounce back from the mist. Then, a scream. Raw guttural, male. It echoes from somewhere deep in the woods beyond the cottages. Ethan freezes. His breath catches in his throat. Silence. Only wind and fog now. He swallows hard, eyes wide. Ethan. Probably a fox. Or a drunk. Then it comes again. Louder, closer. A scream of rage. Or pain. Ethan staggers backward, scanning the fog for any shape. His heart begins to race. A flicker under the lamp. A silhouette. Someone standing in the mist. 40 feet away. The figure is tall, wrapped in a black coat, head tilted as though studying him. Ethan can't see the face. The light flickers, revealing the faintest glint of something metallic in the man's hand. Clothes on, Ethan's pupils contract. Adrenaline floods his face. Ethan. Hey, you all right there? No answer. The man takes a step forward, limping slightly. The sound of his boot hitting wet ground echoes unnaturally. Ethan. Listen. Mate, you need help, or? The man takes another step. The fog thickens between them. The lamp flickers twice, then goes dark. Ethan's breath quickens. His shoes crunch on gravel as he takes a step back. Then a metallic click. the unmistakable sound of a knife unsheathing. Ethan's body jolts into motion. Country road, continuous. He runs. His footsteps slap through puddles. The fog claws at his clothes, the darkness shifting and twisting around him. Behind him, the heavy thud of boots giving chase. Ethan looks back, the man's silhouette barely visible, but unmistakably gaining. His ragged breathing, the rhythm of pursuit. He sprints past an old wooden fence, splintering against it as he cuts across a narrow path. Ethan, come on, come on. He slips, crashes to the ground, mud streaking his palms. He scrambles back up, wheezing, panic raw in his throat. The fog parts slightly, revealing the faint outline of town lights in the distance. Salvation. But the boots are closer now. Thud, thud, thud. He darts off the path, plunging into a ditch to his left. Ditch. Continuous. Mud. Water. The smell of rot. Ethan crouches low, trembling, trying to muffle his breath. He peers through the reeds. The man stops on the road above him, silhouetted faintly by the fog-muted light. One hand holds something long and sharp, a blade catching glints of reflected lamplight. He listens, then exhales, a sound between a sigh and a growl. After a moment, he limps forward again, disappearing down the road. Ethan waits. Seconds feel like hours. Finally, he hauls himself out, slipping and clawing at the mud. He runs again. Ethan's street, minutes later. Ethan bursts from the fog onto his own street, soaked, shaking, gasping for breath. His shoes splash through puddles as he reaches his front door. He fumbles with the keys, they fall. He curses, snatches them up, and jams them into the lock. The door swings open. He slams it shut, bolts it, presses his back against the wood. Silence. Except, scrape. A faint, metallic sound. Outside the door, like a knife dragging slowly across metal. Ethan's eyes widen. His breath shallows. Then a sound low, quiet, inhumanly calm. A chuckle. Ethan backs away from the door, hand trembling as he dials 999 on his phone. Ethan. Please. Please hurry, there's someone outside. Dispatcher. Sir. Can you confirm your address? Ethan. He's right outside. He's... Thud. The door shakes violently. Ethan bites his fist to silence himself. Dispatcher. Sir? Stay on the line. Officers are on their way. The sound stops. Just wind again. Ethan lowers the phone slowly. Listening. Nothing. Segment 2. The scratches. Ethan's kitchen, night, continuous. The kitchen is dimly lit by a single overhead bulb, flickering faintly. The rain hits the window pane in uneven rhythms. Ethan crouches behind the kitchen island, phone pressed to his ear. His chest heaves as he listens to the dispatcher's calm voice through the static. Dispatcher. Officers are on their way. Please remain indoors. Do not engage with anyone outside. Ethan. He's gone now. I think he's gone. His voice cracks. He wipes his face with a trembling hand, streaking mud across his cheek. Dispatcher. Stay calm, sir. Can you confirm? SFX. 3 knocks on the window behind him. Ethan freezes, slowly turns his head. The window pane reflects only the kitchen's dim light, and behind, his reflection, a vague shadow, tall and still. Ethan. Oh God. The knocks repeat, softer this time. Then nothing. Dispatcher. Sir? Ethan lowers the phone slowly, whispering into the receiver. Ethan. He's outside the kitchen now. A pause. Dispatcher. Stay where you are. The units are nearly there. Sirens faintly wail in the distance, small, muffled through fog. Ethan clings to the sound as if it's hope itself. Ethan's street, minutes later. Blue lights glow softly through the mist, distorting, pulsing. A police car pulls up outside Ethan's house. 2 officers step out, silhouettes under the lamplight. Officer 1. Mr. Carter? Ethan opens the door cautiously, face pale and drawn. Ethan. He was here. Right outside. He had a knife. I swear he was right Officer. 2. Okay, slow down, mate. Let's take a look around. They sweep the property, torches cutting through fog like white knives. Close on the doorframe. Fresh scratches, deep and erratic, carved into the paint. The officer kneels, running his gloved hand over them. Officer 1. He wasn't just knocking. He was dragging something. Ethan stands by the door, arms wrapped around himself, watching wordlessly. Officer 2. We'll file a report. You should stay somewhere else tonight if you can. Ethan. I've lived here 3 years. Never seen anyone like him. Officer number 1. We'll patrol the area for a bit. But with this fog. He doesn't finish the sentence. The wind moans softly down the street, brushing through the hedges. In Ethan's house, 3:45 a.m. The police are gone. The house feels emptier for it. Ethan sits on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the front door. The scratches seem darker now in the low light. He replays the sound of the chuckle in his mind. The scrape, the limp. His eyes drift to the kitchen window. The condensation on the glass has streaks, vertical, like fingers dragged down it. He stands slowly, approaches the window, touches the marks. They're cold, faintly damp. Ethan. It's just the rain. That's all. He forces a breath, nodding to himself, though the doubt lingers. In bedroom, later that morning. Sunlight filters through gray clouds, pale and sickly. Ethan lies awake, fully dressed, eyes open. His phone buzzes on the nightstand, his friend Dan calling. Ethan. Hey, Dan. Mate, you sound like death. You still alive? Ethan. Barely. Had a rough night. Dan. What happened? Ethan hesitates. The story feels unreal, fragile when spoken aloud. Ethan. I think someone followed me last night, out by the cottages near the woods. He chased me back here. Knife, everything. A beat of silence. Dan. You sure it wasn't just, I dunno, some drunk bloke? Ethan. He laughed, Dan. He stood outside my door. He scraped it. Dan. Christ. Did you call the police? Ethan. They came. Found the scratches. Dan. And they didn't catch him? Ethan exhales, eyes flicking to the window. Outside, fog lingers low, clinging to the hedges like smoke. Ethan. No, just fog and silence. Whitby streets, afternoon. Ethan walks to Tesco, head low, hood up. The streets are nearly empty, the kind of day where sound doesn't travel right. He passes a charity shop window. His reflection stares back, pale and unfocused. Something in the reflection shifts behind him, a dark blur across the street. He turns. Nothing there. He swallows, shakes his head, and keeps walking. Tesco staff room, later. Ethan sits at the break table, sipping instant coffee. A few coworkers chat at the far end, their laughter distant, muted. Colleague. You alright, mate? You look like you've seen a ghost. Ethan forces a small smile. Ethan. Didn't sleep. Weird night. Colleague. It's Whitby, lad. Fog's got a mind of its own. Ethan chuckles faintly but doesn't answer. His gaze drifts to the window. The parking lot beyond is a gray blur. For a moment he swears he sees a figure standing at the far end, tall, still, facing the building. He blinks. It's gone. Ethan's house, night. Back home, the house feels colder. The fog outside glows faintly orange under the street lamp. Ethan sets down his keys, listens to the hum of the refrigerator. Every sound feels exaggerated. He checks the lock on the door, then the window, then again. He sits in the living room, lights off, watching the front door from the sofa. The scratches are still there. He stares at them until his eyes blur. A faint creak upstairs. Ethan tenses. He stands, walks toward the staircase, every step deliberate, soft. At the top of the stairs, silence. He opens the door to the spare room. Empty. He turns back toward his bedroom and stops. On the hallway wall, right beside the light switch, a thin muddy smear runs down the wallpaper. Fresh. Ethan steps closer, heart thudding. The smell of wet earth clings to it. Ethan. No. He backs away slowly, gaze darting toward the window. Outside, the fog presses thick against the glass, turning the world beyond into a blank wall. Somewhere within it, a faint sound. Scrape. Like metal against wood. Ethan exhales shakily. His breath fogs the glass. He whispers, almost pleading, "Ethan, leave me alone." Bedroom, late night. Ethan lies awake, staring at the ceiling. The room pulses faintly with the orange light from the street lamp outside. He clutches his phone in one hand, cricket bat in the other. The wind howls. The gutter rattles. Then silence again. He closes his eyes. A beat. Then scratch. A faint, deliberate sound. This time not on the door. On the wall. From inside. His eyes snap open. He sits up, trembling. The sound stops. He waits. Listens. Nothing but the faint hum of the storm outside. The silence stretches, taut as wire. He exhales. A breath he didn't know he was holding. Segment 3. The knife on the doorstep. Ethan's bedroom. Morning. Gray light seeps through the curtains. The fog outside is thicker than ever, swallowing even the nearest houses. The world looks muted, silenced. Ethan lies awake on the bed, fully dressed. His phone alarm buzzes faintly, but he doesn't move to silence it. The air in the room feels heavy, stale. He finally sits up, rubbing his face. His eyes are bloodshot, his movements sluggish. Narrator. By morning, the fear had dried into something else. Not calm, not peace, just exhaustion, the kind that dulls every edge until you stop trusting what you hear. He stands and looks at the wall where he heard the sound last night. Smooth, clean wallpaper. No marks. No evidence. He presses his ear to the wall anyway. Nothing. Then he opens the window. The fog drifts inward in cool tendrils, carrying the smell of rain and salt from the sea. The town below looks hollowed out. No cars, no voices, just that muted gray silence. Kitchen, later. Ethan sits at the table, staring at a mug of tea gone cold. His phone lies beside it, open to a text from Dan. "You okay? Don't go mental on me, mate." He doesn't reply. The clock ticks unevenly on the wall. He gets up, paces to the door and stops. The scratches from last night are still visible. Pale grooves cutting through the white paint. He kneels, tracing them with his fingers. Ethan. Real enough. Then he notices something else. A small brown stain near the bottom of the doorframe. He leans closer. It's dried mud. Faint but distinct. A footprint. Size 11, maybe 12. Not his. He backs away slowly, his pulse quickening again. Narrator, Theo. The thing about fear, it never really leaves. It just hides, waits for silence to come back. Whitby, afternoon. Ethan walks through the town center. The fog has thinned slightly, replaced by a weak drizzle. He carries a shopping bag, milk, bread, and a cheap CCTV camera from the local hardware shop. People pass by, bundled in coats, their faces pale under the dull sky. None of them look up. Ethan glances around, half expecting to see that tall silhouette again between the buildings. But the streets are ordinary, almost disappointingly so. Narrator. He started to believe maybe it was just one of those things, a random madman. Wrong place, wrong night. Yet every sound behind him, the click of a shoe, the hiss of a car tire, made him flinch. In Ethan's house, evening. Ethan installs the camera above the front door. He tests it twice, watching the feed on his phone. The empty street, the thin glow of the lamppost, fog swirling like smoke. He exhales. Feels a little better. Ethan. See? Fine. Completely fine. He sets his mug on the table and turns on the telly. Some sitcom. Rerun. The canned laughter feels surreal, out of place. Outside, the wind starts to rise again. Living room, later. Ethan dozes off on the couch. The room glows faintly orange from the streetlight. He stirs. Another tap. His eyes open. He sits up, blinking. The sound repeats, rhythmic, deliberate, coming from the front door. He reaches for his phone. Opens the CCTV app. The live feed loads. Static. Then, the porch, faintly visible in the fog. No one there. Then tap. He freezes. The sound doesn't match what he sees. He turns the volume up. The mic picks up. Faint static and something else. Breathing. Slow, heavy. Ethan whispering. Oh God. The camera shakes slightly. A blur passes across the frame, just for an instant. A shape tall and indistinct. Vanishing at the edge of the porch light. Ethan's breath catches. He stands, phone trembling in his hand. Then silence again. Front hall, continuous. Ethan approaches the door slowly. The tap has stopped. He puts his ear to the wood. Nothing. Then, a sound right against the door, soft, low. A single word, rasped through the barrier. Voice. Ethan. He stumbles backward, heart slamming in his chest. Ethan shouting. Who are you? No reply. He grabs the cricket bat from the corner, clutching it in both hands, waiting. A minute passes. Then two. Silence. He forces himself forward, presses an eye to the peephole. Nothing. Just the orange halo of fog under the street lamp. Kitchen, later. Ethan sits at the table again, phone in one hand, cricket bat across his lap. He rewinds the CCTV footage, frame by frame. At 2:14 a.m., the feed catches movement, a faint shimmer at the edge of the porch. He leans closer, squinting. A tall shape steps into view for less than a second. Long coat, limping gait, then gone. He hits pause, zooms in. The resolution breaks apart into static and blur. But there's a glint near the figure's hand. Metallic. Ethan. Knife. He swallows hard. Rewinds again, presses play. The same loop. The same movement. The same disappearance. Ethan's house, dawn. The fog is pale now, soft like smoke. Ethan opens the front door slowly, half expecting something to leap from the mist. Nothing. He steps outside barefoot, eyes scanning the street. It's silent. Then he looks down. At his feet lies a knife, rusted, old, its blade dulled but unmistakable. Someone has placed it neatly against the door. He stares at it, frozen, mouth slightly open. His breath clouds in the cold air. Narrator. Sometimes the worst part isn't when they come back. It's when you realize they never really left. He kneels slowly, examining it. The handle is wrapped in cloth. Dirty, wet, maybe leather. He doesn't touch it. Instead, he steps back inside and closes the door. Living room. Moments later. Ethan calls the police again. Ethan. It's him. He came back. He left something. Dispatcher. Sir, please stay inside. Officers are. He cuts the call short. He looks at the CCTV monitor again. The porch is empty. But now the fog seems thicker, almost pressing against the lens, as if something unseen is just beyond it. He stares at it for a long moment. Then he picks up the bat again, sits by the door, and waits. The rain begins again. Soft, relentless, washing over the street, erasing everything. Clothes on. The scratches on the door. Water seeps into them, darkening the lines. They look like letters now. Or maybe just marks. Ethan keeps watching, eyelids heavy, until the night swallows everything. Story 2. The Knife-Wielding Passenger. Segment 1. The Pickup. Yorkshire Moors. Night, October 2023. A 2-lane road snakes through the moorland. No lights, no houses, just wind and fog. The land stretches wide and empty under a dark sky. Headlights carve through mist like blades. A silver Toyota Prius hums along the road, engine low, tires whispering on wet asphalt. Narrator. The moors at night can feel endless. A place where the fog eats distance, and sound travels in circles. Ethan Carter had driven these roads for months, ferrying strangers through the dark. But that night, the dark felt different, heavier, as if it were watching him. Ethan's Prius, continuous. Ethan, 24 then, younger but already weary, grips the wheel, eyes fixed on the empty road ahead. The dashboard glows green. His Uber app pings softly beside him. He glances down. New request, 2:01 a.m. Pickup, Hawthorne Road 1.5 miles ahead. Destination, no listed address. He frowns, brow creasing. Ethan, who the hell needs a ride out here at 2 in the morning? He sighs, taps accept. The route line glows pale blue, leading deeper into the moors. Hawthorne Road. 5 minutes later. The car slows, headlights cutting through swirling fog. On either side, wild grass, stone walls slick with rain. Not a single house in sight. The GPS voice murmurs. You have arrived at your destination. Ethan peers through the windshield. No movement, no people. Just fog and the faint outline of a derelict stone cottage off the road. He checks the app. The rider's name reads unknown user. Profile picture, none. He waits, drums his fingers on the wheel. Ethan, right? Brilliant idea, Ethan. Drive into the moors for a ghost fair. He opens his door. Slightly, leans out, peers into the mist. The fog breathes around the car, swallowing the sound. A faint tapping like fingers brushing metal. Ethan jerks upright, scans the mirrors. Nothing. There. He checks his phone again. The request cancels suddenly. The app pings. Rider no longer available. He exhales, uneasy. Ethan muttering. Waste of petrol. He pulls back onto the road, glancing once more at the cottage as he passes. The upper window is dark, except for a faint flicker of movement. Curtain shifting, maybe. He speeds up. Ethan's car. 10 minutes later. The fog thickens. His wipers drag across the glass in slow, rhythmic squeaks. His phone buzzes again. Another request. Same area. Pickup. Crossfield Lane 0.7 miles away. Rider name, T. Beckett. He hesitates, thumb hovering over accept. Narrator. He could have ignored it. Should have. But when you live off tips, you stop asking questions. He accepts. Crossfield Lane moments later. Narrow dirt road veers off the main road, barely visible through fog. Ethan turns in slowly, tires crunching gravel. After a few meters, his headlights catch a figure standing by the roadside. A man, tall, thin, wearing a tattered brown jacket and a dark beanie. A heavy duffel bag hangs from his hand. He doesn't wave, doesn't move, just watches the car approach. Ethan slows to a stop, lowering the window slightly. Ethan, you called for a ride? The man nods once. His face is pale under the beam, eyes sunken, clothes damp. Without speaking, he walks around and opens the back door, slides in. Ethan glances through the mirror as the man settles into the seat, duffel bag across his knees. The smell of wet earth fills the car. Ethan, all right, so, where you headed, mate? No reply. Ethan glances at the phone, drop-off location still blank. Ethan, you need to enter your destination for it to start the trip. The man leans forward slowly. His breath fogs the glass near Ethan's ear. Passenger, low, hoarse. Just drive. I'll tell you where to go. Ethan swallows, nods, puts the car in drive. Ethan's car, driving, continuous. The road unspools through fog. The dashboard light casts both faces in green and shadow. Ethan keeps glancing in the rearview mirror. The man's eyes stare back, unblinking, reflecting the faint glow like glass marbles. His hands rest on the duffel bag, knuckles pale. Ethan lightly, hell of a night. Huh? No response. The silence stretches, thick as the fog outside. Ethan, forcing a chuckle. You, been out long? Passenger. You could say that. Ethan forces a nod, pretending to focus on the road. His palms are slick with sweat. Passenger, after a pause. You live around here? Ethan. Yeah. Whitby. Not far. Passenger. Alone? Ethan glances in the mirror. The man's tone isn't casual. It's measured, deliberate. Ethan. Yeah. Why? Passenger. Just curious. A long silence. Moorland Road. Continuous. The fog thickens to near opacity. The road feels more like a tunnel of mist. Ethan slows down, headlights barely reaching 10 meters ahead. Narrator. Every instinct told him to turn around. But fear, like fog, has a way of numbing reason. The GPS voice murmurs again. Turn right onto unmarked road. Ethan frowns, there's barely a track visible. Ethan, you sure? This is right? The man leans forward, voice calm but cold. Passenger. Keep driving. Ethan's fingers tighten on the wheel. He glances again at the mirror. The man's eyes are fixed on him. They turn down the dirt path. The car jolts over uneven ground, tires crunching on gravel. Passenger. Here's fine. Ethan brakes. They're surrounded by nothing, only fog and faint shapes of trees. He forces a nervous laugh. Ethan. So, this your stop, yeah? Passenger. Not yet. He leans forward and something cold presses against Ethan's neck. A knife. Ethan. Jesus. Christ. Passenger. Drive into the woods. Ethan's breath comes shallow, quick. His hands shake on the steering wheel. Passenger whispering. No games. No questions. Just drive. Narrator. The voice wasn't angry. It was patient, controlled, like someone who'd done this before. Ethan's eyes dart to the mirror. The man's gaze meets his, calm and unwavering. He nods, voice breaking. Ethan. All right, mate. Just take it easy. He shifts the car into drive again, headlights cutting through the darkness. More edge, continuous. The car crawls forward down the narrow path. The fog thickens until it feels solid, swallowing even the sound of the engine. Ethan, narrating softly. You don't have to do this, yeah? Whatever this is. The man's hand tightens on the knife. Passenger. Stop talking. Ethan grips the wheel tighter, every nerve burning. The man breathes slowly, evenly, the blade cold against Ethan's skin. The sound of the rain grows louder. Then suddenly, a crack of thunder, close enough to shake the car. Ethan flinches, instinctively jerking the wheel. The car skids sideways on the slick ground. The man lunges forward to steady himself, the knife scraping Ethan's collar. Ethan seizes the chance. He slams the brakes. The car jolts to a stop. The man grunts, momentarily off balance. Ethan throws open the driver's door and dives out into the fog. Moorland, continuous. He runs. Mud splashes up his legs. Branches claw his jacket. The fog wraps around him, heavy and wet. Behind him, shouting. The man's voice, guttural, furious. Passenger. Get back here. A sound, gunfire. A single, sharp crack that tears the silence apart. Ethan ducks instinctively, heart pounding. He doesn't stop running. His breath rasps loud in his ears. Every sound, every footstep, echoes too close. He stumbles over a fallen branch, crashes to the ground, scraping his palms on rock. He drags himself up, limping now. Narrator. Somewhere behind him, boots crunched against the wet earth. Slow. Deliberate. He keeps running. Farmhouse, dawn. Ethan collapses onto a muddy track leading to a distant farmhouse. A faint orange glow flickers in a window. He staggers toward it, pounding on the door. Ethan, hoarse. Please, help me. The door opens. A farmer in his 60s, eyes wide. Farmer. What in God's name? Ethan turns, gasping, scanning the fog. No one there. He collapses against the wall. The farmer helps him inside. Segment 2. The missing car. Farmhouse kitchen. Early morning. A kettle whistles faintly in the background. The room is warm, cluttered, old. A contrast to the freezing fog beyond the windows. Ethan sits hunched at the kitchen table. A blanket wrapped around him, mud streaked across his jeans. His hands shake as he cradles a cup of tea. The farmer, gray hair, weathered face, paces near the counter, phone pressed to his ear. Farmer. I'm telling you, he came running through the moor like the devil was after him. No, I didn't see anyone else. Yes, we'll wait. He hangs up, turns to Ethan. Farmer. Police are coming, lad. Sit tight. Ethan nods faintly. His voice is hoarse. Ethan. Thank you. I didn't know where I was. Thought he was still behind me. Farmer. You're safe here. Fog'll keep anyone away for. Now. The farmer sets down a plate of toast, studying him quietly. Farmer. You said he had a knife? Ethan stares at the tabletop. Ethan. And a gun. He fired it. Out there somewhere. The farmer exhales through his nose, uneasily. Farmer. Lot of strange folk out on the moors. A faint creak comes from the floorboards overhead. Both glance up. The farmer chuckles weakly. Farmer. Old house. Always making noises. But Ethan keeps staring at the ceiling. Frozen. His ears strain for another sound. Nothing. Farmhouse. Later. 2 police cars idle near the muddy track. Their blue lights flash dimly through the fog, painting the stone walls in ghostly color. Ethan stands outside, wrapped in the blanket, speaking to Sergeant McKinnon, mid-40s, calm but skeptical. McKinnon. So you picked him up? Near Crossfield Lane, you said? Ethan. Yeah. App said T. Beckett. He had this duffel bag, big one. He told me to drive into the woods. McKinnon takes notes. McKinnon. And that's when he pulled the knife? Ethan nods. McKinnon. Then you crashed and ran. Ethan. Didn't crash. Stopped. Braked hard. He fell forward, I bolted. McKinnon glances toward the moor. The fog is so thick the road's edge disappears into it. McKinnon. We'll get a team out there once visibility improves. Ethan's expression tightens. Ethan. He's still out there. McKinnon looks back at him, not unkindly but cautious. McKinnon. We'll do our best. You got your reg number handy? Ethan. It's in the app. My phone's still in the car. I dropped it when I ran. McKinnon nods, making a note. McKinnon. All right. We'll tow it in. Get you a ride home after. Ethan stares back at the moor, eyes glassy. Ethan. Don't go alone. Farmhouse, afternoon. The kitchen. Again. Ethan sits numbly while an officer tends to a cut on his forehead. McKinnon returns, shaking his head slightly. McKinnon. Visibility's hopeless. Couldn't see 10 feet ahead. We'll resume once. Clears. Ethan's jaw tightens. Ethan. He'll be gone by then. McKinnon sits across from him. McKinnon. Listen, Mr. Carter. These moors, they mess with your senses. Fog plays tricks on distance. And sound. Is possible the man. Ethan, snapping. He had a knife to my neck. I'm not imagining that. A silence stretches. The kettle begins to boil again, shrill. McKinnon stands slowly. McKinnon, measured. Nobody's saying you imagined it. Just get some rest, yeah? We'll be in touch. He leaves the card on the table. Ethan stares at it like it's an anchor he doesn't quite trust. Ethan's terraced house, evening. A taxi pulls up to the curb. Ethan steps out, clutching a borrowed coat. The fog is thinner here but still clings low to the ground, glowing orange in the streetlights. He pays the driver, then hesitates by the front door. For a moment, he expects to see scratches on the frame again. He almost laughs at the thought, but it dies before it becomes sound. Inside, the house is cold and silent. Ethan's living room, night. Ethan sits cross-legged on the floor, laptop open in front of him. He scrolls through Uber's driver dashboard, trip logs, recent rides. Nothing listed for the night before. He frowns, checks again. No record of T. Beckett. No timestamp. No coordinates. It's as if the trip never existed. Ethan, to himself. No, that's not right. He refreshes the page. Nothing. He opens his email, no trip confirmation, no earnings update. Narrator. He tried to tell himself it was a glitch, a missing data sync. But deep down, something colder began to take root. He looks up, eyes unfocused. The room feels too quiet. The hum of the refrigerator stops mid-cycle, leaving the air hollow. Ethan's bedroom. Later. Ethan lies on the bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replays every detail. The passenger's breath, the rasp of the knife, the smell of damp earth. His phone buzzes on the nightstand. Unknown number. He hesitates, then answers. Ethan. Hello? Silence. Then a faint sound. Breathing. Ethan. Who is this? The line clicks dead. He sits upright, heart pounding. Checks the number. Private caller. Narrator. He told himself it was nothing. A prank. A wrong number. But he didn't believe it. He switches off the lamp and lies back down, the phone clutched in his hand. Outside, the fog thickens again. Police station, next day. Fluorescent lights hum overhead. McKinnon stands by a whiteboard, reviewing case notes with another officer. Officer 2. Still no sign of the vehicle. Drone search turned up nothing. McKinnon. A whole bloody Prius doesn't just vanish. Officer 2. Unless it's down a ravine. We're stripped. McKinnon taps the board, frowning. McKinnon. What about the passenger name? Beckett? Officer 2. No ID, no trace. Uber says that account's inactive. Hasn't been used in over a year. McKinnon sighs, rubbing his temples. McKinnon. So we've got a phantom passenger and a missing car. Grand. Ethan's house. Afternoon. Ethan watches rain streak down the window. He hasn't moved in hours. A knock at the door startles him. He freezes. SFX. Another knock, softer this time. He peeks through the peephole, a delivery driver holding a parcel. Ethan exhales shakily, opens the door. Driver. Package for Carter? Ethan signs, takes it inside. The label has no sender. He frowns, opens the box. Inside, a USB stick, wrapped in tissue. No note. He hesitates, plugs it into his laptop. A single file, crossfieldfootage.mp4. He clicks it. On screen, dashcam footage. Grainy, flickering. The timestamp reads 2:12 a.m., October 28, 2023. Ethan leans forward. The video shows his car, his dashboard, his hands on the wheel. He hears his own voice. Ethan, you sure this is right? Then the passenger's voice, faint but clear. Passenger. Keep driving. Ethan's heart races. He fast-forwards. The moment when the knife comes into view. The same voice, the same cold tone. Then, at the end of the clip, the camera turns briefly as if the device were picked up. A face fills the frame for a split second. Pale. Smiling. The video cuts to static. Ethan stares at the screen. Frozen. Narrator. There it was. Proof. And yet, somehow it made things worse. Because if the footage existed, someone had to have sent it. In Ethan's house, night. Ethan paces the floor, phone pressed to his ear. Ethan. You don't understand. I got a video. Someone sent me. McKinnon. Mr. Carter, we already pulled your car's black box data. There's nothing there. No recording system active. Ethan. But I just watched it. I saw him. McKinnon. Bring it in tomorrow, we'll take a look. Ethan lowers the phone slowly, breathing uneven. He turns back toward the laptop, the file is gone. Deleted. He stares at the blank screen as the fog outside thickens, swallowing the last bit of daylight. Segment 3. The return to Crossfield Lane. Ethan's house. Early morning. Rain drizzles against the window. Ethan sits motionless at his desk, eyes red, surrounded by open notebooks, printed maps and newspaper clippings. On his computer screen, a satellite map of the Yorkshire moors, with a small red pin marking Crossfield Lane. Next to it, McKinnon's business card, and the now empty parcel box that once held the USB. Ethan scrolls through Uber's GPS archives again. Blank. No trace. No ride log. He exhales sharply, gripping his hair. Ethan, to himself. They think I'm mad. Narrator. He wasn't sure when fear turned into obsession. Only that one made him feel alive, and the other kept him from sleeping. He closes the laptop, grabs his coat, and leaves. Whitby, mid-morning. The fog has returned, heavier now. Curls around buildings, swallowing sound. The high street is nearly empty, the kind of quiet that makes every step echo. Ethan passes a cafe window, catches his reflection. Unshaven, pale, hollow-eyed. He looks away quickly. He crosses the street, heading toward a car hire office. Car hire office, continuous. The office is cramped, fluorescent lit. A bored clerk scrolls through her phone at the counter. Ethan, I need to rent a car. Just for a day. Clerk. License? He hands it over. She scans it, glances up. Clerk. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. He forces a thin smile. Ethan. Something like that. She types for a moment, then hands him the keys. Yorkshire Moors, noon. A different car. This time a black hatchback winds through the same twisting roads. The moor stretches endlessly in all directions. The world reduced to fog and the faint glow of wet grass. Narrator, he told himself he was going back for answers. But part of him knew it wasn't reason that drove him, it was gravity. The kind that drags you back to the scene of a nightmare. He drives slowly, eyes darting between the road and the map. Every landmark looks the same. Stone walls, sheep fences, ruins half sunk into mud. The car clock reads 12:47 p.m. Crossfield Lane. Later. He finds it. The dirt track, narrow, lined with dead trees, just as he remembered. He stops the car, steps out. The silence hits him like pressure. Even the wind is still. Ethan walks down the lane, boots sinking into wet soil. The fog clings low, turning the world to pale gray. He reaches the bend where his Prius had stopped that night. Ethan should be here. Nothing. Just flattened. Grass and puddles. No skid marks, no tire impressions, no wreckage. He kneels, running a hand over the wet ground. Narrator. No sign of struggle. No sign of the car. No sign that anything had ever happened at all. Then something catches his eye. A fragment of metal glinting faintly in the mud. He digs it out. A small key ring with a broken fob. The Toyota logo barely visible under the grime. Ethan's breath catches. Ethan whispering. My moorland woods. Moments later. He follows a faint trail through the trees. The sound of dripping water echoing like whispers. Branches claw at his jacket. The deeper he goes, the darker it gets. Then, through the fog, a shape. He stops. The outline of a car. Half hidden in the brush. Covered in mud and moss. He steps closer. His hand trembles as he wipes away grime from the windshield. It's his Prius. Inside, the seats are torn. The dashboard cracked. The smell of rot and fuel thick in the air. He peers through the window. His old phone lies on the passenger seat. Screen dark and shattered. Ethan, shaky whisper. No. He pulls the door, it creaks open. Inside, on the floor by the back seat, lies the duffel bag. He stares at it, pulse pounding. He hesitates, then unzips it. Inside. Mud. Torn cloth. Something wrapped in plastic. He peels it open. A knife. Rusted now, but still sharp. He drops it instinctively, stumbling back. The fog seems to close in, muffling everything. SFX. The faint creak of a door. He spins, the back door of the Prius has swung open on its own. Narrator. He told himself it was the wind. But there was no wind. Not here. He steps backward slowly. Then a voice. Passenger. Drive into the woods. Ethan freezes. The voice is calm. Familiar. He turns toward the car. The driver's seat is empty. But in the rearview mirror, a reflection. A face behind him. The same pale, wet-eyed man from before. Ethan stumbles back. Slips in the mud. Scrambling to his feet. Ethan, shouting. What do you want from me? The fog ripples, shapes flickering at its edges. Shadows that almost look human. Passenger. You brought me back. Ethan runs. Moorland, continuous. He sprints blindly through fog. Branches whip across his face. Behind him, the sound of footsteps. Steady, deliberate. He reaches the main road. Gasping. Drenched. Mud splattering up his legs. The sound fades. He turns. Nothing there. Just white fog rolling like waves. He drops to his knees, breathing raggedly. Narrator. He never knew how long he stayed there, only that the silence didn't comfort him anymore. Felt like someone listening. Police station, later. McKinnon flips through a file. Ethan sits opposite him, clothes filthy, hands trembling. McKinnon, you went back out there? Ethan nods numbly. McKinnon, and you found your car? Ethan, yes, it's there. The bag too. McKinnon frowns, exchanges a look with another officer. McKinnon, we searched that area this morning. There's nothing there, Mr. Carter. Ethan blinks, stunned. Ethan, that's not possible. I saw it. I touched it. McKinnon closes the file slowly. McKinnon, you've been through hell. Maybe give it a few days. Get some rest. Ethan shakes his head violently. Ethan, you think I'm mad? McKinnon, I think you're scared. And I don't blame you. Ethan's house, night. He sits on his sofa, silent. A small police leaflet, Victim Support Services, lies on the table. The room feels hollow again. He looks at the window, fog pressing against the glass like a living thing. He stands, walks to the door, and opens it slowly. The street is empty, silent. He steps outside, barefoot. The cold seeps through him, grounding and unreal. All at once. Then he looks down. At the foot of his doorstep lies a muddy duffel bag. His breath catches. He kneels, trembling. The zipper is half open. Inside, his car keys coated in dirt. And next to them, a piece of paper folded. He unfolds it. A single line, scrawled in dark ink. You forgot to finish the drive. Ethan stares, numb, eyes glistening in the orange streetlight. The fog thickens, swallowing his silhouette until only the open door remains visible. Story 3. The Intruder in the Storm. Segment 1. The Flicker. Whitby, Yorkshire, night, October 2025. Rain lashes the rooftops. The street lamps glow weakly through sheets of mist. Water runs in rivers down the cobblestones, turning the gutters into streams of light. Inside one of the terraced houses, a single window glows dimly. The faint blue flicker of a television struggles against the dark. Narrator. 2 years after the Moors, Ethan Carter lived quietly again, or tried to. Different job, same house, same fog that never left Whitby. He told himself the past had washed away, but the mind has its own weather. Ethan's living room, 10:02 p.m. Ethan, now 26, sits slouched on the sofa, eating fish and chips from a paper tray. The TV murmurs with a late-night documentary he isn't watching. The lights flicker once, briefly dim. He glances toward the window, wind and rain pound the glass. He sighs, half smiling. Ethan, of course. Bloody October. He stands, stretches, picks up his keys. Narrator. He'd left the house earlier for food, thinking the storm might clear his head. Didn't. The noise outside only matched the noise inside. Whitby streets, moments earlier. Flashback. Rain hammers down. Ethan hurries along with the takeaway bag clutched to his chest. Water pools at his feet. The sky glows orange-gray, clouds tumbling low over the rooftops. He glances up at his house as he returns. Something flickers in the upstairs window. A soft, brief light, then darkness again. He stops mid-step, squinting through the rain. Ethan, did I leave that on? He stands there for a long moment, rain soaking through his hood, until another crack of thunder jolts him back into motion. Ethan's hallway, continuous, present. He shuts the door behind him, drops the keys into the bowl. Water drips from his sleeves onto the floor. The hallway is dim, the only light from the living room lamp. Everything feels damp and slightly colder than it should be. He looks up the staircase. The landing is dark. The door to his bedroom stands ajar, just a sliver but wide enough to notice. Ethan, calling softly. Hello? The word sounds strange in the stillness, swallowed almost immediately by the sound of rain on the roof. He waits. No answer. Narrator. He'd lived alone long, enough to know the house made noises of its own. But that door, he remembered closing it. He takes a slow step up the stairs. Each one creaks under his weight. Bedroom, continuous. The room is dark. He flicks the switch. The light flickers, sputters, then steadies. Everything is as it should be. The bed neatly made, the curtains drawn, his computer off. He crosses the room, checks the plug sockets. Nothing unusual. Ethan, you're jumpy. That's all. He turns to leave and stops. In the reflection of the mirror across the room, something moves behind him. A faint shadow in the doorway. He spins. Nothing there. The thunder rumbles again, long and low. He laughs under his breath, rubbing the back of his neck. Ethan whispering, "Get some sleep, mate." Living room, later. He sits back on the sofa, the half-eaten food forgotten. Rain hammers the windows. Lightning flashes intermittently, lighting the room in harsh white bursts. On the TV, a weather presenter talks about flood warnings across the coast. Ethan leans his head back, eyelids heavy. The sound of the rain lulls him towards sleep. Narrator. Sleep came easier when it was loud. When the world outside drowned out the one inside. The TV screen glows softly as he drifts off. Living room. A few minutes later. The screen flashes white from lightning. Ethan stirs, a faint sound wakes him. A floorboard creaks upstairs. He opens his eyes, disoriented. The clock reads 11:23 p.m. He sits up slowly, listening. Another creak, this time closer to the stairs. He stands, silent, bare feet against the cold floor. Ethan, calling. Hello? Nothing. Only the rain. He grabs the cricket bat leaning against the wall. A relic from last year's paranoia, one he never quite stopped keeping nearby. He steps into the hallway. Hallway, continuous. The light bulb overhead flickers faintly. He looks up the staircase again. It's dark. The air feels thicker, heavier, as if the storm has pressed itself inside the walls. He takes one slow step after another, bat raised slightly. The creak sounds again, this time behind him. He turns sharply. Nothing. Just the faint reflection of himself in the hallway mirror. His own pale face startles him. He forces a shaky breath, laughs once, quietly. Ethan murmuring, "You're losing it." He starts back. Down the hall toward the living room, then stops dead. From upstairs, a light flicks on. A soft, amber glow spills from his bedroom door. Ethan's throat tightens. He watches, frozen. Then the light goes out. Staircase, continuous. He climbs slowly, each step creaking louder than the last. His heart thunders against his ribs. Narrator. He told himself it was the wiring. Old houses, old lights. But deep down, he'd already decided what he'd see when he opened that door. He reaches the landing. The bedroom door stands half open again. He reaches out and pushes it. Gently. Bedroom, continuous. The room is in darkness. He flips the switch. Nothing happens. The bulb is dead. He exhales shakily, turns toward the window, and freezes. A faint handprint glistens on the glass, as if someone pressed their palm there moments ago. He steps closer, raising the bat like a shield. The print is long, smeared slightly, still damp from condensation. Ethan whispering, "No." He turns toward the wardrobe door. It's open an inch wider than before. Lightning flashes outside. For a split second, the mirror catches movement inside the wardrobe, a shape shifting slightly in the dark. Ethan, hoarse whisper, "Who's there?" Silence. He takes one cautious step closer. Bedroom, continuous. The sound of his own breathing fills the room. He grips the handle, heart pounding, sweat slick on his palms. Narrator. Some part of him already knew. The same way you know thunder's coming before you hear it. He yanks the wardrobe door open. Nothing inside. Just clothes swaying faintly as if disturbed. He exhales, shaking with relief that doesn't feel real. Then, behind him, the faint sound of a footstep in the hallway. He spins, bat raised, staring into the darkness beyond the doorway. The hall light flickers, then goes out. Hallway, continuous. The storm rages louder now. Rain hisses through the open window somewhere. Downstairs, Ethan's silhouette stands frozen in the dark. Narrator. It wasn't the sound that frightened him most. It was how familiar it felt. The rhythm of a step he'd heard before. The next lightning flash floods the hall. For half a second, the outline of a man stands at the bottom of the stairs. Tall. Soaked. Still. Ethan blinks, the light dies, the figure is gone. Thunder booms overhead, shaking the glass. He grips the bat tighter, trembling. Ethan, please, just leave me alone. Segment 2. The Man in the House. Ethan's hallway, night. Continuous. Darkness. The house hums with the storm's vibration. Every wall seems to breathe. Rain drums on the roof. Thunder growls like something alive. Ethan stands frozen on the stairs, gripping the cricket bat so tightly his knuckles have gone white. A floorboard creaks again. This time closer. Not upstairs, below. He looks down. The faint outline of the living room doorway is visible in the orange glow from outside. The light from the street lamp trembles through the rain-streaked window. Ethan takes a shaky breath. Narrator. He wanted to believe it was the wind. The pipes. Anything but what it was. But the sound had weight, the soft, heavy rhythm of a person moving in a space that wasn't theirs. He descends one step at a time. The sound stops. Living room, continuous. Ethan reaches the doorway, peering inside. The room is dark except for the flicker of the television. Still on, but silent now, muted static glowing in pale blue pulses. The curtain near the window sways slightly, as if brushed by a passing draft. Ethan edges closer, every inch of him tensed. The faintest drip, 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 water pooling somewhere behind the sofa. He moves around it. His shoe lands in something wet. Segment 3. The Familiar Face. Ethan's living room, morning. The next day. The storm has passed, leaving the world gray and washed. The morning light is thin, almost sterile. The windows are streaked with dried rain. The room looks smaller now. A war zone of overturned furniture, muddy footprints, and broken glass. Ethan sits on the sofa, wrapped in a police blanket, staring blankly at the wall. An officer finishes jotting notes in a small book. Officer Clark. We've checked the perimeter, Mr. Carter. No fresh tracks outside. Whoever broke in, if they did, they're long gone. Ethan nods faintly but doesn't look up. Ethan, quietly. The crowbar. You saw it. It wasn't mine. Clark, gently. We collected it for prints, yes. But with the rain last night, well, we'll do what we can. Another officer photographs the doorframe. It's wood splintered and wet. Narrator. They asked him the same questions they always asked. Was he drinking? Did he imagine it? Did he know anyone who'd want to hurt him? He told them no to all of it. But part of him wasn't sure anymore. YXT. Whitby Street, day. Fog still clings to the ground, low and heavy. The officers load their equipment into the car and drive off slowly, tires hissing on the damp road. Ethan stands in the doorway, watching them leave. The street is empty. The puddles shimmer faintly under the weak sun. Narrator. He'd never hated silence before, but now silence meant space and space meant something could be hiding in it. He shuts the door, locks it twice, then checks it again. In Ethan's bedroom, afternoon. Ethan stands before the window, looking out at the neighboring gardens. Everything feels still, staged. The police have taken the crowbar. They've bagged the muddy footprints. But the handprint on the glass remains faintly visible, smudged now by light and time. He traces it with one finger, almost unconsciously. Ethan, softly. You knew me. He steps back. His reflection stares back at him. Pale, hollow-eyed, sleepless. Behind his reflection, the wardrobe door stands slightly open. He shuts it firmly and wedges a chair against it. Kitchen, late afternoon. A kettle hums on the counter. The sound fills the silence, comforting and human. Ethan stirs sugar into his tea, hands trembling slightly. On the table sits a police evidence form, folded, with his name written in neat blue ink. He opens his laptop, pulls up local news. Headline: Police investigate series of burglaries in Whitby area. He scrolls further. Another headline catches his eye. Body found near Blackmore Road. Unidentified male, 40s. The date is from the same night as the storm. He leans closer, pulse quickening. The article mentions a man found collapsed near the woods, soaked and injured. No ID. Ethan stares at the screen. For a long time, narrator. He told himself it couldn't be the same man. Too far away. Too many coincidences. But the mind has a way of connecting the wrong dots when it's desperate for closure. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had finally stopped moving. In living room, evening. The house feels different now. Quieter but not safe. Ethan sits with the TV off. He listens to the creak of the pipes, the hum of the fridge, the faint echo of footsteps in memory. On the table sits the evidence bag the police forgot, inside a photograph they found. Near the broken door. He hadn't looked at it yet. He picks it up. It's old, faded. A group of men outside a pub. One of them is unmistakably familiar. The man in the photo is smiling, arms slung around a friend. Ethan's breath catches. The man looks older, but he recognizes him instantly. The passenger from 2 years ago. Ethan whispering, "No, that's impossible." He stares closer. There's something scrawled on the back, written in shaky pen. "See you soon, mate." Hallway, night. Ethan paces back and forth, phone in hand. He dials the detective's number. Again, no answer. He sets the phone down, exhales shakily. His reflection in the dark window looks ghost-like, distorted by condensation. Narrator. He thought about the driver's seat, the man in the back, the smell of earth, the blade at his neck. He thought about running, and how the sound of pursuit never really stopped. He looks down at his hands, trembling again. The clock ticks loudly. A faint sound interrupts it. A scrape, somewhere at the front of the house. He freezes. The same sound from that night. Metal on wood. Living room, continuous. He crouches low, heart thundering, and peers through the curtain. The street outside is empty. The fog has returned, thicker now, swallowing the lampposts. Then movement. A figure at the far end of the street, tall, limping slightly. Ethan blinks hard. The fog swallows it. He backs away from the window, breathing fast. Narrator. Some things don't die. They just learn how to wait. Bedroom, late night. Ethan sits on the edge of the bed, clutching the cricket bat again. The room is dim, lit only by a lamp. The chair is still wedged against the wardrobe. Rain starts again. Outside, soft at first, then heavier. He tries to steady his breathing. From the hall, the old floorboard creaks, the same one, the same weight. He stares at the door. Ethan, quietly. "You're not real." The door handle twitches. Once, twice. He raises the bat. The handle stops moving. Silence. Then a faint knock. 3 times. Knock. 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 His breath stutters. Narrator. He could have called the police again. But deep down, he knew they'd already done all they could. He lowers the bat, steps forward, trembling. Ethan whispering, "What do you want from me?" The third knock echoes again, louder this time. Knock. 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 Hallway, continuous. He approaches slowly, barefoot on cold wood. The rain outside merges with the pulse in his ears. He reaches the front door. A shadow moves behind the frosted glass. Tall, distorted, familiar. Lightning flashes. For one instant, the face beyond the glass is clear, smiling. The same crooked grin. Ethan staggers back, choking on air. Ethan, screaming, "Go away." He fumbles for the phone. The line is dead. The house plunges into darkness, the power gone again. Outside, the knocks continue, slow and patient. Knock. 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 Bedroom, moments later. Ethan barricades the door, hands shaking. The light from his phone screen flickers across his face. A notification buzzes. An unknown number. Message. "You left the door open again." His fingers tremble as he drops the phone. It hits the floor with a dull thud. Narrator, Theo. He thought he'd escaped. The moors. The road. The man in the storm. But fear doesn't live in places. It lives in memory. Lightning floods the room for a heartbeat, and in that flash the mirror shows a shape. Standing behind him, Ethan turns. Darkness. Whitby, Yorkshire, dawn. Rain drifts down softly now, almost gentle. The terraced houses sit silent in the fog. The camera lingers on Ethan's window. The curtains flutter slightly, though the window is closed. A single muddy footprint leads from the gate to his door. No others return. Narrator, Theo. They say the fog never lifts in Whitby. Maybe that's why no one ever really leaves. He looks down, muddy footprints, leading from the back door to the living room. Large prints. Fresh. The rain outside intensifies. Ethan's breathing quickens. Ethan, hoarse whisper. No. He follows the trail to the hallway. The back door is ajar. Open no more than 2 inches, the wind pushing it gently, creaking on its hinges. He swallows hard and nudges it shut with the bat. The lock is splintered, half broken. Narrator. It wasn't the first time he'd seen a door forced open, but this time it was his. Kitchen. Continuous. The lights flicker weakly. Water drips from Ethan's jacket onto the tiled floor as he steps in. He checks the cupboards, the pantry, behind the door, nothing. Lightning flashes. Outside, illuminating the garden for an instant, empty except for rain hammering the fence. He exhales shakily, trying to slow his pulse. He turns off the light to see through the window better. And freezes. There's a reflection on the glass. Not his own. Behind him, in the dark kitchen, someone moves. He spins around. Nothing. His own breath fogs the glass. His heartbeat fills the silence. Narrator. The mind learns to lie when it's afraid. Tells you you're alone. Tells you it's over. But your body knows better. Hallway, continuous. Ethan creeps toward the stairs, every nerve alight. His socks squeak faintly on the wet floor. He stops at the base of the staircase, listening. From upstairs, a door closes. Soft, deliberate. Ethan stares upward, chest heaving. Ethan under breath. Oh Christ. He glances toward the front door, locked. The window by the stairwell. Rain pelts it too hard to break through. Only one way out, back door. Broken. The one he just locked. He grips the bat tighter and climbs again. Landing to continuous. Dim light from the street filters through the frosted glass window. Everything feels grainy, unreal. He stops outside his bedroom door. It's shut now. He listens. Nothing. He places his hand on the knob. Cold. Damp. He turns it slowly. The door creaks open an inch. Inside, total darkness. He flicks the light switch. Dead. SFX. Soft, uneven breathing from the far side of the room. Ethan freezes. Then lightning flashes outside. For half a second he sees him. A man standing by. The wardrobe. Tall, soaked, eyes wide and wild. His grin is crooked, his clothes clinging to him in tatters. In his right hand, a crowbar. Ethan, screaming. Get out. The man moves. Fast, jerky, like his joints don't work right. Ethan slams the door shut and throws his weight against it. Thud. The crowbar hits the wood from the other side. Ethan, yelling. Leave me alone. He pushes harder. Feet slipping on the wet floorboards. Another crash. The door cracks, splinters flying. Ethan stumbles back, gasping, then darts for the stairs. Staircase, continuous. He bolts down, 2 steps at a time. Behind him, the door bursts open. Footsteps follow, uneven, dragging. Ethan hits the bottom, slips, crashes to his knees. The bat clatters away. He crawls toward the front door, fumbles with the lock. Thunder roars, shaking the glass panes. He turns the bolt, it jams. His hand slips on water and blood from his scraped palm. He looks over his shoulder. The intruder appears at the top of the stairs, silhouetted in lightning. The man grips the crowbar loosely, head tilted. His grin impossibly wide. Intruder, rasping. Ethan. Ethan freezes. His name again. The voice is low, familiar, drawn out with mock affection. Ethan, hoarse whisper. How do you know my name? The intruder just laughs. A broken, wheezing sound that echoes through the hall. Narrator. He'd heard that laugh before. Not from a stranger. From a nightmare. Ethan grabs the bat again. Stands, trembling. Ethan. Get out of my house. The man takes one step down. The stair groans under his weight. Another step. Another. Ethan backs up toward the kitchen. Bat raised. Breath coming in gasps. Kitchen, continuous. Ethan turns. Shoves the table aside. Knocking over a chair. He reaches for the phone on the counter. It slips from his wet hand, clattering to the floor. He dives for it. The intruder's footsteps thud closer. He dials 999, whispering as the line connects. Ethan, to phone. Please, he's in my house. He's got a weapon. Dispatcher. Stay on the line, sir. Are you in a safe room? Ethan. No, A shadow moves across the doorway. The intruder stands there, crowbar hanging loose by his side. His hair drips, his eyes gleam in the lightning. Ethan's hand tightens on the bat. Intruder. You left the door open. Ethan backing away. Get out. Please just go. Intruder. Tilting his head. You always leave things open. The words are strange. Too intimate. The man steps forward. Ethan swings the bat. It connects with the crowbar. Clang. Sparks fly. The man grunts but doesn't fall. He swings again. The man catches the bat midair, wrenching it from Ethan's hands. Ethan shoves him, breaking free and runs toward the stairs. Staircase/landing, continuous. Ethan charges upward, half-blind, soaked in sweat and rain. Behind him, the intruder follows, dragging the crowbar along. The wall is sparks and plaster flying. Ethan dives into his bedroom, slams the door, and jams the desk against it. The sound of wood scraping fills the space. The crowbar hits the door. Again. Ethan, shouting into phone. He's breaking in. Please, hurry. Dispatcher. Units are en route. Stay where you are. He drops the phone, pressing his back against the desk. The door rattles. Violently, the desk trembles under the impact. He looks toward the window, rain lashing but openable. Narrator. The mind does strange things under fear. It finds exits where there are none. He unhooks the latch, shoves it open. Cold rain explodes into the room. He climbs halfway out, stops when he hears something. The pounding stops. Silence. He freezes. He turns. The doorknob is slowly turning. Then nothing. No footsteps. No breath. Just the storm. Ethan leans out the window, gasping, trying to see the street below. Police lights are still distant. Faint blue glimmers through the fog. When he turns back, the door is open. The intruder is gone. The crowbar lies on the floor, slick with rainwater. Ethan whispering, no. He inches forward, bat trembling in his hand again. The hallway beyond is empty. Landing/bedroom, continuous. He steps out slowly, searching each doorway. The air feels charged, alive, as though someone's just walked through. From the end of the hall, his dog-eared mirror reflects his silhouette, and for a split second, another behind him. He whirls around. No one there. Narrator. Maybe the storm had driven him mad. Or maybe madness had just been waiting for a door left open. Whitby Street, minutes later. 2 police cars arrive, blue lights slicing through fog and rain. Officers rush toward. The house, torches ready. They find Ethan standing barefoot on the front step, soaked, shaking, the bat dangling loosely from his hand. Officer, calling out. Sir? Are you hurt? Ethan blinks at them, dazed. Behind him, the front door hangs open, hinges splintered. The officers step inside, sweeping the rooms. One calls out, Officer 2. No one here. Ethan stares out at the street. Rain. Pounding the tarmac. Fog glowing orange. Ethan, hoarse. He was here. The officer nods slowly, trying to calm him. Officer. It's all right now. You're safe. But Ethan doesn't answer. His eyes drift to the upstairs window, where the light flickers once, then goes dark. Story 4. The Connection. Segment 1. After the fog. Whitby coastline, morning. Fog rolls off the North Sea in thick white veils. The cliffs rise stark and wet, gulls circling lazily overhead. The town below is a watercolor of slate roofs and pale mist. Ethan Carter walks along the esplanade, hood up, hands shoved into his coat pockets. His eyes are bloodshot, he hasn't slept properly in weeks. Narrator. After the storm, Whitby went back to pretending. The papers called it an isolated break-in. The police called it an anomaly. But for Ethan, the silence after was worse than the noise before. He stops by the railing, staring out at the sea, gray on gray, endless. A ship's foghorn moans somewhere far off, low and mournful. Coffee shop, late morning. Ethan sits alone in the corner of a small cafe, sipping a lukewarm tea. His phone screen glows faintly beside him. A police email left unopened. On the table lies the photograph from the evidence bag. His corners curling. He flips it over again. See you soon, mate. He checks the faces one more time. The man from the car, the intruder, others he doesn't recognize. He zooms in on a detail. A pub sign in the background. The King's Arms, Robin Hood's Bay. He murmurs to himself. Ethan, quietly. That's 20 minutes south. He pockets the photo and stands abruptly, leaving the tea. Half finished. Robin Hood's Bay, afternoon. The seaside village is nearly deserted. Narrow cobbled lanes wind between old brick cottages. The air thick with salt and the smell of fish. Ethan wanders past shuttered gift shops until he finds the pub. The King's Arms, its paint peeling, windows fogged with condensation. He hesitates at the door, then pushes inside. The King's Arms pub, continuous. Dim light, the smell of damp wood and stale beer. A fire crackles weakly in the hearth. A few locals sit hunched over pints, their murmured conversation barely audible. Ethan approaches the bar. The barman, late 50s, looks up from polishing a glass. Ethan. Hiya, I'm looking for someone. This photo, do you recognize any of these men? He lays it on the counter. The barman squints, leaning closer. Barman, that's going back a few years, that is. I know him. He points to the man Ethan knows, the intruder, the passenger, the figure from the fog. Barman, continuing. Used to come in here. Quiet lad. Always sat in the corner. Name was Daniel Holt, if I remember right. Worked the docks for a bit. Ethan's pulse quickens. Ethan. Daniel Holt? You're sure? Barman. I disappeared about 2 years ago now. Police came asking back then. Never found him. Ethan feels the air go thin. Narrator. 2 years ago. The same year he drove nights. The same roads. The same fog. Ethan carefully. Did he ever talk about Whitby? The barman frowns. Barman. Always said he hated it there. Said it was full of ghosts. He laughs once, dryly. Ethan doesn't. Robin Hood's Bay later. The light fades. Rain begins to mist again. Ethan walks back toward his car. The name Daniel Holt circling in his head like a curse. He unlocks the door, sits behind the wheel, staring through the windshield as the rain blurs the world. He opens his phone, types Daniel Holt Whitby police report into the search bar. Articles appear. Local man missing after coastal accident. 2023. Search for dockworker called off. Unidentified body found on Blackmore Road. He clicks the last one. The photo attached. Grainy, distant. Shows a recovery team near the moor. The caption. Police believe the deceased to be Daniel Holt, 42. Missing since 2023. Ethan softly. No. He scrolls down. The estimated date of death. October 2025. 2 weeks ago. Narrated. He'd seen the man die. And yet, he'd also seen him after. Or maybe before. He grips the steering wheel, breath fogging the glass. Ethan's car. Continuous. A faint knock against the driver's window startles him. A woman in a raincoat peers in, the barman's wife, perhaps. Ethan lowers the window halfway. Woman, hesitant. You were asking about Danny Holt, weren't you? Ethan. Yes. Did you know him? She nods slowly. Woman. Everyone here did. He wasn't right, you see. Had episodes. Used to say someone followed him. Said a young man. Kept showing up at his work in his dreams. Watching. Ethan's breath catches. Ethan quietly. A young man? Woman, nodding. Dark hair. Looked like you, actually. Her eyes linger on him a moment. Too long. Then she steps back into the rain. Ethan stares after her, pale and trembling. Narrator. Somewhere between their stories, the world folded in on itself. He wasn't sure who was haunting. Who anymore? Country road, night. Ethan drives through thick fog again, headlights barely cutting the darkness. The wipers squeal across the glass. The road looks familiar, too familiar. He glances at the sat-nav. Blackmore Road. His stomach turns. He slows down, staring at the ditch where he once ran years ago. Rain starts again, heavier this time. He turns off the engine. The world goes still. Wind, rain, the ticking of the cooling engine. He gets out slowly, stepping into the wet grass. Blackmore Road, continuous. The fog is thick enough to taste. The only light comes from his car's rear lamps, glowing red through the mist. He walks toward the ditch. The mud still bears faint impressions, not footprints, but something like them. He crouches, runs his hand through the cold earth. Slick, sticky. Beneath it, something glints faintly. He digs with his fingers until he uncovers a rusted keyring, shaped like a skull. His own keyring. He drops it instantly, stepping back. Narrator. He remembered losing it years ago, the night on the moor. He'd thought it was gone. But things never really go missing in Whitby. They just wait to be found again. Ethan stares down at the mud. For a heartbeat, he thinks he sees footprints forming in it, filling slowly like something invisible is standing there. He stumbles backward, gasping. The fog thickens, swallowing the red light of the car. Ethan's car, moments later. He slams the door shut, locking it. His hands shake as he grips the wheel. Through the misted window, he sees movement. A shadow drifting past the rear light. He flicks the headlights on. Nothing. He exhales shakily. Then a handprint smears across the inside of the windshield. Inside. He jerks back with a strangled noise, fumbling for the door. The air in the car feels cold, wrong, heavy with damp breath. Narrator. It was like driving through his own memories. Every road led back to the same night. Every shadow had the same face. He starts the engine and tears down the road, the fog parting briefly in his headlights, just long enough to reveal a figure standing in the ditch watching him go. The face is indistinct, but it's smiling. Segment 2. The File. Whitby Library, day. Dust motes drift through pale beams of light cutting across the room. The old library smells of paper, rain-damp coats, and floor polish. Ethan sits at a wooden table near the back, surrounded by stacks of local newspapers and a public computer terminal. Humming quietly, he scrolls through archived police reports, his eyes sunken and focused. The screen's blue glow washes over his tired face. Narrator. He didn't trust his memory anymore. It shifted, like the fog thick one day, clear the next. But the files were fixed. The records didn't lie. He needed something that couldn't vanish when the lights went out. Close on screen. Police report. Case file. Holt, Daniel, missing person, 2023. Ethan scrolls down, scanning rapidly. Resident of Whitby. Employed at the docks. Last seen leaving the King's Arms, Robin Hood's Bay, October 17, 2023. Known to suffer from episodes of paranoia and delusions of pursuit. Claimed he was being followed by a younger man. Ethan leans back, blinking hard. His hand trembles on the mouse. Ethan softly. That can't be right. He clicks next page. A scanned image appears, a witness sketch, rough pencil lines on yellowing paper. The figure in the sketch looks almost exactly like him. Library, continuous. He stares at it, frozen, breath shallow. A soft creak sounds behind him, the librarian pushing a cart of books. The sound makes him jump. He slams the laptop shut, drawing a few curious glances. Narrator. He wanted to leave it there, pretend it was a mistake. But some things once seen don't stay buried. They pull at you like the tide. Ethan gathers his things quickly, leaving the computer unlocked. Whitby Library, moments later. The afternoon has turned gray. A drizzle begins, fine and cold. Ethan stands on the steps, zipping his jacket, trying to steady his breathing. He looks down the street. Rows of terraced houses fade into fog, identical, endless. Across the road, a police station sits half-obscured by mist. He hesitates, then crosses. Whitby Police Station. Reception minutes later. The interior is fluorescent and sterile, the hum of cheap lights overhead. A bored receptionist looks up as Ethan enters. Receptionist. Can I help you, sir? Ethan. I'm looking for case records. Old ones. Missing persons. Daniel Holt. Receptionist. Skeptical. Public access records are online. Ethan. I've seen the public ones. I need the full file. Please. The receptionist frowns, glances toward the back office. Receptionist. One moment. She disappears through a doorway. Ethan stands there, trying not to pace. He studies the bulletin board on the wall, community alerts, flood warnings, missing pet notices. One flyer catches his eye. Missing, Ethan Carter, age 24. Dated 2023. He freezes. The photo is unmistakably him, same jacket, same tired eyes. Ethan whispering, "No, that's not possible." The receptionist returns before he can pull it down. Receptionist. "I'm sorry, sir. Those files aren't available without authorization." Ethan doesn't respond. His eyes remain fixed on the notice board. Receptionist, uneasy. "Sir?" He forces a nod, backing toward the door. Ethan quietly. "Yeah, right, of course." He leaves quickly, the bell over the door jingling faintly. Police station, continuous. Rain drifts down in fine sheets. Ethan stands on the pavement, staring at the reflection of the station in a puddle. The word missing warped and upside down. He pulls out his phone, opens the photo app and takes a picture of the flyer through the glass. His hands shake as he zooms in on the date. October 2023. The same week Daniel Holt disappeared. Narrator. He remembered that year in fragments. A blur of jobs, faces, nights on the moors. But not this. Not this version of himself. Ethan's flat evening. The rain hasn't stopped. Water streaks the windows. The lights are low, the atmosphere claustrophobic. Ethan sits at his desk. Laptop open. The glow illuminating stacks of paper and coffee cups. He compares the missing person report to the photo of the flyer. The address listed for Ethan Carter in 2023 isn't his current one. It's an address on Humber Street, the same area Daniel Holt once lived. He scrolls further, finding the report's notes. Last contact made via phone call to a Daniel Holt, 23:57 hours. Content of call unknown. Ethan leans back, blood draining from his face. Ethan whispering, No, that's not. His phone vibrates. Unknown number. He hesitates, then answers. Ethan. Hello? Silence. Then a faint, breathy voice. Voice. Distorted. You found the file. Ethan freezes. Ethan. Shakily. Who is this? Voice. Calm. You were there. Don't you remember? The line crackles. Rain drums on the window harder, syncing with his pulse. Ethan. Stop calling me. Voice whispering now. You left the door open. The call drops. Ethan stares at the screen. The number has already vanished from his call log. Narrator. He'd once believed the stranger followed him. Now he wondered if he'd been following himself. Living room, night. Lightning flashes outside. Ethan paces the floor, muttering under his breath, piecing fragments together aloud. Ethan. Daniel Holt, Missing 2023. Me missing 2023. Same date, same street, same. He trails off, gripping his temples. A faint sound draws his attention. Dripping water. He looks up. The ceiling above the hallway is leaking. A dark stain spreading slowly. He grabs a bucket and sets it down. As he does, something small falls from the ceiling crack. A photograph wet and curling. He picks it up with trembling fingers. It's him again, standing in front of a car. But behind him, barely visible in the fog, another figure. The limping man in the coat, grinning at the camera. Ethan drops it, stumbling back. The light flickers. The rain outside grows louder. Narrator. The past. Wasn't behind him. It was above, below, within, seeping through the walls like rainwater. He stares at the photograph on the floor. For the first time, he notices something else, scrawled faintly. On the back in wet ink. I was you. Ethan presses his hand to his mouth, trembling violently. Whippy, night. The storm returns with full force. Lightning splits the sky over the rooftops. Through his window, Ethan's silhouette moves restlessly. A man trapped in loops of his own making. The lights flicker, then die. In the reflection of the darkened glass, a second shape stands. Just behind him, unmoving, watching. Segment 3. The house on Humber Street. Humber Street, night. The narrow street is almost deserted. Street lamps buzz faintly through sheets of drizzle, their light bending in the fog. Ethan's car rolls to a stop beside a row of crumbling terrace houses, identical except for the peeling paint and broken blinds. The sign on the corner reads Humber Street. He kills the engine. The headlights die. Narrator. It had been 3 years since the police file said he'd lived here. But he didn't remember any of it. The address, the neighbors, the number on the door. It all felt borrowed, like someone else's dream. He steps out, pulling his hood tight. The rain slicks the pavement in oily reflections. House number 47 looms at the end of the row, dark and unlit. The windows are boarded from the inside, but faint yellow light leaks through the cracks between the boards, pulsing, rhythmic, like slow breathing. House 47, continuous. Ethan approaches cautiously, each step echoing against wet stone. He stops at the gate. It's hanging off one hinge, swinging slightly. He reaches for the latch on the door. It gives immediately, unlocked. The smell hits him first. Mildew, damp, something metallic. Narrator. He told himself he'd only look, only confirm it was empty. But part of him already knew he wasn't the first one back here. In House 47, continuous. The front hallway yawns before him like a throat. Wallpaper hangs in tatters, damp spreading upward from the floor. A single bulb dangles from the ceiling, swaying slightly though there's no wind. Ethan steps inside, his shoes squelching in the soaked carpet. He shines his phone's flashlight down the hall. Photographs line the wall, in crooked frames. All are water damaged. Most faces are blurred or scratched out. He runs a finger over one, a man standing in front of a car. The same car from his photo. The same fog. Ethan softly. What is this place? He moves toward the living room. Living room, continuous. Dust, mold, and silence. A sofa slumps under its own weight. The walls are covered in newspaper. Clippings all pinned in overlapping layers. He steps closer, shining his light across them. Headlines flash in fragments. Local man still missing. Unidentified body found on moor. Driver. Claims to have escaped attacker. He realizes some of the clippings are his own words, from articles he wrote years ago as a freelance journalist. Ethan whispering. No, that's not possible. The handwriting in the margins is messy but familiar. Notes scrawled in blue ink. He knows. He never left. It's the same man. Ethan staggers backward, hand trembling. Narrator. He'd written stories about strangers, men who vanished, who were followed, who never escaped their ghosts. But maybe he hadn't been writing about strangers at all. House 47, kitchen, continuous. The sink drips steadily. A rusted kettle sits on the stove, long cold. Ethan opens a cupboard. Inside are stacks of old photographs, hundreds of them warped and damp. Every photo shows a different version of him in front of different houses, cars, pubs. In each one, somewhere in the background, a blurred shadow watches from a distance. He drops the stack, backing away. Lightning flashes through the boarded window, lighting the room in stuttering white bursts. On the counter sits a single cassette recorder, old and dust-covered, a tape still inside. A faded label reads, EC 2023. He presses play. A faint voice crackles through his own tape. Ethan's voice. Can't sleep again. He's outside the window. I don't know if it's him or me anymore. I think I saw my own face. If anyone finds this. The tape cuts off with a hiss. Ethan slams stop, shaking. Ethan, to himself. No, this can't be real. Hallway, moments later. He stumbles toward the staircase. A sound echoes from above, a slow, dragging step. He freezes, eyes lifting toward the landing. Narrator. There was only one way to end it. One way to see what waited at the top. He grips the banister and starts climbing. Each step groans under his weight. Halfway up, he sees something carved into the wall. Faint letters scratched into the plaster. We are the same. He stops, running his hand over it. His fingertips come away wet, as if the letters are still bleeding. He keeps going. Upstairs, hall, continuous. The air is colder here. His breath clouds in front of him. There are 3 doors. 2 are shut. The third, slightly open, emits a faint amber glow, like candlelight. He steps toward it. The door creaks open further on its own. Inside, the room is almost empty. A small table sits in the center. On it, a cracked mirror and a folded letter. He picks up the letter carefully. The paper is damp and nearly disintegrating. It's written in his own handwriting. Ethan, you won't remember this, but you need to stop looking. Every time you try to prove it wasn't real, you bring him back. You wrote the story first. Then you lived it. Then you forgot. He isn't following you. You're the one who keeps finding him. Ethan stares at the initials. Daniel Holt. The candle beside the letter flickers violently. He looks into the cracked mirror. For a moment, he sees his own reflection. Then, someone else's face flickers over it. The limping man, grinning faintly, eyes hollow. Ethan stumbles back, gasping. The reflection doesn't move with him. Ethan whispering, "No, stop." The reflection leans closer, pressing its hand against the glass from the other side. A hairline crack spreads across the mirror, then another, then shatter. The candle goes out. Darkness. House 47 moments later. The whole house groans as if exhaling. Ethan runs down the stairs, panting, half blind in the dark. He reaches the door, but it's gone. Just wall. He turns in circles, panicked. The photographs on the walls have changed. Now every face is his, all staring at him, all with different expressions of fear, rage, exhaustion. Narrator. He'd been running for years, down moors, through fog, across streets that always led back to the same door. Maybe the house had never been a place at all. Maybe it was just the shape his guilt had taken. He slams his fists against the wall where the door should be. Ethan shouting, "Let me out." Thunder crashes overhead. The floorboards tremble. A voice rises behind him, low, almost kind. Voice, softly. "You left the door open, Ethan." He turns. The limping man stands at the bottom of the stairs, soaked, eyes gleaming in the dark. Ethan backs away, shaking his head. "Ethan, hoarse. You're not real." Voice, smiling. "Neither are you." The lights flicker once, twice. Then the house goes silent. Humber Street, night. From outside, the rain continues. No light comes from the windows of number 47 now. A neighbor walks by with an umbrella, glancing briefly at the dark house before moving on. A faint knock echoes once from inside, 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. Story 5. The Return. Segment 1. The Fog Remembers. Whitby Coastline, dawn. The fog is heavier than ever, thick, unmoving, as if the sea itself has forgotten to breathe. The cliffs are half hidden, the horizon erased. A faint orange glow of sunrise struggles behind the clouds, painting the mist like old parchment. A figure stands at the railing above the harbor. It's Ethan, or someone who looks like him. His clothes are dry despite the drizzle. His eyes are distant, unfocused, like someone listening to a sound only he can hear. Narrator. The sea doesn't care what it takes, keeps what it's given. Time works the same way here. Everything left behind washes back eventually. Ethan's breath fogs faintly in the cold air. He watches the water below without moving. Down by the docks, a police boat drifts near the pier, its lights pale and spectral through the mist. Docks, continuous. 2 officers stand near the boat, conferring quietly. The younger one holds a clipboard, glancing uneasily toward the water. Officer Young. That's the second one this month. Same stretch, same look. Officer Clark, older. Bodies don't stay long in this water. The tide turns fast. They pause. The younger officer flips through his notes. Officer Young. You really think it's the same bloke? Clark shrugs, staring into the fog. Officer Clark. Town's full of ghosts. Sometimes they wear new faces. Behind them, something bumps softly against the side of the boat. They both turn. A dark coat floats just beneath the surface, sleeves snagged on a rope. In Whitby Police Station, later. The same sterile fluorescent hum as before. Clark sits at his desk, reading a report file. The name across the top, Ethan Carter, missing person. Reopened. A photo paper clipped to the corner shows Ethan's face. Pale, wary, eyes full of something like recognition. He sighs, rubbing his temples. Officer Clark, quietly. Every year it's someone new. Every story's the same. He flips to the next page. The handwriting in the file changes mid-report. It's not typed anymore, but scrawled in blue pen. He's not missing. He's everywhere. Clark frowns, looks around. The station is empty except for the faint sound of the printer in the back room. He turns back to the file, the words are gone. Whitby evening. Fog descends. Early. The narrow streets glow orange beneath the lamplight, the moisture in the air turning every sound into an echo. Clark walks toward Humber Street, coat collar up against the chill. He stops outside house number 47. Still boarded, still silent. He shines his torch on the door. Narrator. The neighbors said they'd seen lights again. Said someone was living there now. But the power had been cut off weeks ago. Clark knocks once. The sound echoes deeper than it should, as though the house is hollow all the way through. Knock, knock, knock. He waits. No answer. He tries the handle, unlocked. In house 47, continuous. The beam of his torch cuts through dust and shadow. The air smells faintly of brine and earth, as if the sea has seeped into the walls. Clark moves slowly down the hallway. The wallpaper still peels in strips. He shines the light across the living room. The newspaper clippings are gone now. The walls are bare except for one object hanging crookedly. A mirror, cracked across the center. The flashlight beam catches his reflection, and for an instant, another reflection beside him. Ethan's pale face. He jerks around. Nothing there. Officer Clark, to himself. Christ. He exhales, steadying the torch. Then, faintly, from upstairs, a footstep. In staircase, continuous. The wooden steps creak under Clark's weight as he ascends. Each one echoes twice, once for him, once for something that isn't him. He reaches the landing. 3 doors. 2 closed, 1 ajar. From the open one, a soft flickering glow. He raises the torch and steps inside. In upstairs room, continuous. The room is empty except for a desk with a cassette recorder on it. He presses play. Static. Then a voice, male, distant, cracking with fear. Tape. Ethan's voice. If anyone hears this, don't come looking. He remembers me now. He remembers all of us. The tape clicks off. Clark looks down at the floor. The dust is disturbed. 2 sets of footprints leading in, 1 leading out. He kneels, tracing a faint shape etched into the boards. A small skull carved in the wood. He straightens, uneasy. Narrator. Whatever haunted the man, it never stayed buried. Every door that closed opened somewhere else. Every file left unfinished wrote itself again. Clark steps back toward the hall and stops. On the wall beside the door, written in charcoal, faint but fresh. You left the door open. The house seems to sigh. Humber Street, later. Clark exits the house, locking the gate behind him. The fog thickens, swallowing his silhouette as he walks away. Through the boarded window, light flickers briefly, once, twice, then dies. The camera lingers on the front door. A faint scratching sound begins from inside, slow and deliberate. Metal on wood. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Whitby Cliffs, night. The wind rises. The sea churns below, black and endless. Ethan stands near the railing again, or something wearing his outline. His coat flaps soundlessly in the wind. Behind him, the town glows faintly through fog, each light a tiny memory refusing to go out. Narrator. They said he vanished. But that isn't true. He just went back where it started. To the fog, to the noise, to the hollow place between what's real and what's remembered. Ethan turns slowly toward the camera. His expression is calm now, almost peaceful. His mouth moves, whispering something inaudible. The wind carries only one word clearly. Home. See, continuous. The camera drifts seaward through mist and darkness. Waves crash against unseen rocks. For a brief moment, a light glimmers beneath the water. Faint, flickering, like a lantern held deep below. Then darkness again. Segment 2. The open door. Whitby, early morning. Fog drifts through the narrow lanes like breath. Everything is damp, brick walls sweating, windows fogged, chimneys exhaling smoke that never rises far. The church bells toll faintly somewhere in the distance, their sound swallowed by mist. A postman pushes his bicycle along the cobbled street. He stops at a familiar door, house number 47, Humber Street. The gate creaks open without touch. He pauses, frowning. Postman, quietly. That's odd. He steps closer, slips a letter through the slot. The envelope vanishes with a faint rustle, as though snatched from the other side. He hesitates, peers through the frosted glass. The faint shape of a man stands in the hallway, perfectly still. The postman blinks, startled. The shape is gone. He backs away quickly, shaking his head. Narrator. The house hadn't been occupied for months, but some mornings people swore they heard footsteps inside. Others said they saw a man through the window, always at dawn, always watching. XT. Town Square, later. The fog thins briefly. Locals bustle through the market, their voices subdued. Elderly Mrs. Keene, wrapped in a shawl, speaks to a friend as they pass a police poster. Mrs. Keene. They're looking for that lad again. What's his name, Carter? The one from the papers. Friend. Poor thing. Said he went mad. Didn't they? All that business with the break-ins. Mrs. Keene shakes her head. Mrs. Keene. Mad or not, someone keeps lighting that window in his house. Saw it myself last night. Friend. Maybe the sea's bringing him back. Everything ends up here sooner or later. They disappear into the fog, their voices fading. In house 47, same time. A faint golden light flickers in the gloom. Dust dances in the beam filtering through the cracks. On the table, the cassette recorder lies open, its tape unraveled like a tongue. The walls are bare now, stripped of photographs and clippings. The front door stands open. Beyond it, fog. Ethan steps into frame, barefoot, wearing the same dark coat as before. His eyes are calm but vacant, as though the fear has drained away, leaving only recognition. He walks slowly toward the open door, pausing at the threshold. Narrator. He remembered the first door, the one in the fog, the night of the scream. He remembered running from it, locking it, hiding behind it. And every time it opened again. He reaches out, fingertips brushing the edge of the doorframe. The wood feels alive beneath his touch, warm with breath. He whispers softly, "Ethan, it was never outside, was it?" The fog stirs, coiling into the room like smoke. Humber Street, continuous. From outside, the door swings wider. The fog spills out, thick and white, creeping across the pavement, climbing the walls, filling the gaps between the houses. The street lamps fade to dim orange smudges. Inside, Ethan's silhouette vanishes into the mist. Narrator. Maybe it was mercy. Maybe it was memory. Or maybe the fog simply wanted him back. In Whitby Police Station, Officer Clark sits at his desk, rubbing his eyes. The case file for Ethan Carter lies open. He flips to the latest entry, written in his own neat handwriting. Subject's property observed. Vacant. No sign of forced entry. Possible hoax reports of light activity. File remains unsolved. He reaches for his tea, notices a faint smudge on the bottom of the page. A wet fingerprint. Recent. He frowns. Looks up. Through the glass partition of his office, a man is sitting in the waiting area. Dark coat, pale face, eyes fixed forward. Clark blinks. The man is gone. Whitby Cliff Path, evening. Fog curls around the gravestones of St. Mary's churchyard. The sea crashes below. Ethan walks the path slowly, trailing his fingers along the iron rail. His footsteps make no sound. He passes a tourist snapping photographs. The man looks up, startled, sensing something. Ethan is already gone. Only the fog remains, swirling in the shape of his coat. In House 47, night. The house is empty again. But the front door has changed, no longer warped and water-stained, but new, freshly painted black. 3 knocks sound from the other side. Knock, knock, knock. A beat of silence. Then the faintest whisper from within. Ethan, come in. The door opens. Fog floods the hallway, covering the floor like water. Humber Street, same. Time. Outside, everything is silent. The fog has thickened into a living wall, swallowing streetlights and chimneys alike. The town looks half-drowned, every sound muffled. Narrator. It wasn't a haunting anymore. It was an inheritance. The town had learned to keep its ghosts close. A figure emerges from the fog, tall, limping slightly, familiar silhouette. He pauses at the end of the street, turns his head as if listening. Somewhere far off, a door slams. Then another opens. The figure smiles faintly. Whitby, wide shot. The camera drifts high above the town. A sea of rooftops and fog. Lights flicker on and off across random houses, one after another, in slow rhythm. As if something is moving through them, house to house, memory to memory. The fog pulses with each light, breathing in sync. The sound of waves grows louder, merging with the wind, the heartbeat of something immense. Narrator. Maybe Whitby never had a beginning or an end. Maybe it was always one long night, one long chase through fog and fear, and he just happened to be the one who saw it clearly. The lights all go out at once. Silence. Then a single window glows again. House 47. Segment 3. The Cycle. Whitby, night. Fog coils over the empty streets. The lampposts hum softly, their light reduced to trembling halos in the mist. Somewhere distant, the low boom of the sea. Footsteps echo. Slow. Careful. A man walks alone, his silhouette hazy and indistinct. His face isn't clear, just a blur of pale skin, dark coat, weary posture. Narrator. Every story in Whitby ends the same way. With fog. With footsteps. With someone still looking for a way out. The man turns a corner. Street sign, Humber Street. He pauses, frowning faintly, as if the name tugs at a memory he can't quite reach. Humber Street, continuous. The fog thickens as he moves. The houses loom close together, identical. Halfway down the street, he stops. House 47 stands dark. Boarded windows, wet steps. But the door is new again. clean, painted black. A faint light flickers from behind the frosted glass, like candlelight. He approaches slowly, breath clouding in the cold air. The sound of the sea fades, replaced by something quieter. A low hum, almost like whispering. Narrator. Some said it was a curse. Others said it was guilt. But maybe it was neither. Maybe the town just didn't know how to forget. The man lifts his hand. Knocks. Knock. 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 In house 47, continuous. The sound reverberates through the dark rooms. The house stirs. Floorboards creaking, air shifting. From somewhere upstairs, footsteps answer. Slow, dragging, steady. A door opens. Ethan appears at the top of the stairs, his face pale, his eyes heavy with recognition. He looks down at the shadow by the door, at the man whose face is still hidden by fog. For a long moment, they simply stare at one another across the darkness. Ethan quietly, I told you not to come back. The man's voice is soft, trembling. Man, I don't know why I'm here. I heard something. Ethan steps down a few stairs, his expression both tired and kind. Ethan, we all do. That's how it starts. Street outside, continuous. The fog moves strangely now, pulsing with the rhythm of unseen waves. From other windows up and down the street, faint lights flicker one after another. In some of them, shapes move, people standing still, faces turned toward invisible sounds. A child's toy rolls across the wet pavement, vanishing into mist. In house 47, continuous. Ethan stands at the bottom of the stairs now, face to face with the stranger. The fog has slipped through the open door, curling around their feet like smoke. The man looks terrified, but curious. Man, do I know you? Ethan studies him for a moment. Then, gently, Ethan, you will. The house creaks. The door swings wider. Ethan steps back into shadow. The stranger hesitates, then crosses the threshold. The door closes softly behind him. In house 47 moments later, the room is empty again. Only the faint sound of rain tapping against the window. On the wall, above the mantel, hangs a single photograph, the same group photo from before. The faces are clearer now. Ethan stands among them, smiling faintly. Next to him, the stranger. Both their eyes are turned toward something outside the frame. Humber Street, later. The fog is deeper now, rolling like water. The town seems half submerged. The lights beneath it dim and far. Away. From somewhere, faint laughter, echoing. Then silence. Narrator. When the fog comes, the living forget, and the dead remember. That's how the town keeps itself alive. By trading faces, names, stories. A police car passes through the mist, headlights cutting briefly through the white. It slows near house number 47. The driver glances out. The house is dark again. He sighs, keeps driving. The camera lingers as the taillights vanish into fog. In house 47, same time. The fog curls through the hallway like tidewater. The faint echo of voices drifts from somewhere. Unseen. Fragments of every story that's been told here. You left the door open. Drive into the woods. He's in the house. I was you. They overlap softly, blending into a low hum, like the sea. A mirror catches a glint of light. For an instant, Ethan's reflection stands there again, calm, almost at peace. He turns toward the open door. Ethan softly. Ready? The fog answers with a whisper that sounds like the sea exhaling. The light fades. Whitby coast, dawn. The tide rolls in slowly. The water is pale gray, the air still heavy with mist. A seagull cries, its voice echoing across the cliffs. The camera pans across the harbor, deserted, calm. On a bench overlooking the sea, a man sits quietly, back turned to camera. His coat is dark, his posture familiar. He watches the horizon as if waiting for something. A passerby jogs past, glances his way, but keeps moving. When the camera returns, the bench is empty. See, continuous. The water ripples softly. A reflection glides across it, fog merging with light. For a moment, two shapes overlap. Ethan and the stranger, indistinguishable, fading together. The reflection blurs, dissolves into the gray. Narrator. Somewhere in the fog, he's still walking. Through every night that ever happened here. Maybe that's what eternity really is. Not heaven or hell. Just the same street, the same door, waiting to be opened again. The screen fills with fog. Then faintly 3 knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Silence. Then softly, Ethan's voice. Distant, gentle, almost welcoming. Ethan, come in.